Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Before reciting Srimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagvatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagvatam, and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. So we read till text number 37 yesterday, and we were discussing about the king Suyagya. So Yamaraj, as a young boy, came to pacify the wives of the king Suyagya, who had lost his life in the battlefield. So Yamaraj spoke to the wives that you are so experienced, and why are you lamenting for the dead body? Because everyone goes through this situation. And we have taken so many births, so many lives, we have, revolved in the cycle of birth and death. So what's the big deal? So this young boy is speaking. Let's continue with the next verse, text 38. Aho vayam dhanyatma tad atra tyakta pitribhayam na vichintyam yamaha abhak Kshyamana abala vikradibhi sarakshita rakshati yohi garbhi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is wonderful that these elderly women do not have a higher sense of life than we do. Indeed, we are most fortunate. For although we are children and have been left to struggle in material life unprotected by father and mother, and although we are very weak, we have not been vanquished or eaten by ferocious animals. Thus we have a firm belief that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given us protection even in the womb of the mother, will protect us everywhere. Purport. Hare Krishna, please keep your phones on mute when you are not speaking. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 18.61, Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam hridadesher arjuna tishtati. The Lord is present in the core of everyone's heart. Thus the Lord gives protection to everyone and gives the different types of bodies the living entities wants to enjoy. Everything is done by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one should not lament the birth and death of a living being, which have been arranged by the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. One must act according to the direction of the Lord within the heart, but because the conditioned soul wants to act independently, the Lord gives him the facility to act and experience the reactions. The Lord says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja. Give up all other duties and simply surrender unto me. One who does not abide by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is given the facility to enjoy with this material world. Instead of restricting him, the Lord gives the conditioned soul the opportunity to enjoy, so that by mature experience after many, many births, bahunam janmanam ante, he will understand that surrender to the lotus feet of Vasudev is the only duty of all living beings. So this words is spoken by that young boy who is no other than Yamaraj himself. So we discussed that when a small child speaks philosophy, people take it seriously. People are amazed. Oh, little boy speaking such erudite philosophy. And in this case, he is talking about why are you are so experienced. You have seen world much more than I have seen. I am unprotected by so-called mother and father. But I have the shelter. I have firm belief. That is very, very nice word. Firm belief. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kore Sudrida Nishchay. Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That is the faith. And that is the first step of the journey of a sadhaka. Shraddha. So if we have firm faith, if we have the firm belief that Krishna will protect me in all times, and whatever he does, whether I understand it, whether I take it in a positive way or negative way, but he does the best for me. If one has that belief, then one will be protected everywhere. Dhruva Maharaj was protected even in the forest. Here Yamaraj is speaking, I'm externally parentless. But you are very mature, you are adults, you are more mature than me. Why are you crying? You don't have faith in Supreme Lord that He will protect you? Irrespective of what, your husband has died, but real anath. Anath is one, in external terms, people say one who has lost his mother or has lost his father, they call him anath. But actually, as per Bhagavatam, anath is one who has not taken shelter of the Lord, whose nath is not Gopinath. Having parents does not make one sanath. If one has not taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, one is anath. And if one has taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, irrespective of he has parents, mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, etc., one is sanath. So we have to become real sanath by understanding and having firm belief that Krishna, my Supreme Father, my Supreme Mother, my Supreme Friend, my Supreme Protector, Mata, Dhata, Pitamaha, He is my everything. His love for me is more than millions and millions and zillions of mothers put together. All that the births we have taken, and we have taken, I have taken zillions of lifetimes. So all those zillions of mothers put together, Krishna's love surpasses that. All I need is firm belief. Then there will be no sorrow. Then there will be no misery. Then there will be no fear. Because if one has taken full shelter and has full faith, then Krishna will protect me. What do I need to worry? Because He is the Supreme Controller. All this coronavirus, all this Prakriti, Maya Dhakshina Prakriti, all this Prakriti is working under Him. So if I have faith, the full faith in Him, then why do I need to worry about other things? That doesn't mean we stop acting intelligently. Of course, He in the heart, as Prabhupada is mentioning, He in the heart is present and will guide if we tune ourselves to Him. But we also have a free will. We have a choice of not listening to that Paramatma in the heart and continue to enjoy the so-called material experiences and keep on taking Bhaunam Janmanam. So, but sooner or later, we have to come to understanding. So better we realize sooner than rather than going through again multiple births, as that's what Prabhupada is writing. Surrender to the lotus feet of Vasudeva is the only duty of all living beings. So the better, the earlier, the better. The more we delay, the more we'll suffer. So choice is ours. Any comments or questions? Okay, let's read the next verse. Someone who didn't read yesterday would like to read, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'd like to read.
Yes.
Hey, everyone. Text 39. Ya ichcha eshaha srijatidam avayo ya eva raksati avalumpate cha yaha tasya balaha kridanam ahur ishitas characharam nigraha sangrahe prabhuhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The boy addressed the woman, O weak woman, only by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never diminished, is the entire world created, maintained, and again annihilated. This is the verdict of the Vedic knowledge. This material creation, consisting of the moving and non-moving, is exactly like his plaything. Being the Supreme Lord, he is completely competent to destroy and protect. Purport: in this regard, the queens might argue, if our husband was protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead when in the womb, why has he not been given protection now? To this question, the answer is Ya ichchayashaha srijatidam abhayoya eva rakshati avalumpate cha yaha. One cannot argue with the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is always free, and therefore He can protect and can also annihilate. He is not our order carrier. Whatever He likes, He will do. Therefore, He is the Supreme Lord. The Lord does not create this material world at anyone's request, and therefore He can annihilate everything merely by His will. That is His supremacy. If one argues, why does He act in this way? The answer is that He can do so because He is supreme. No one can question His activities. If one argues, what is the purpose of this sinful creation and annihilation? The answer is that to prove His omnipotence, He can do anything, and no one can question Him. If He were answerable to us concerning why He does something and why He does not, His supremacy would be curtailed. So here, the in translation, Jumraja, in the form of a little boy, is telling the woman who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how much powerful He is. So in the purport, that's what Prabhupada is telling us, everyone, why the Lord is supreme. And the Lord never controlled by anyone. He is the controller of this whole world. That's why He is supreme. And so that's why all depends upon His wish, what He wants to do. If He wants to play with the whole world, He can. He can annihilate, He can create. So everything depends on His hand. And we are just the puppet of His hands. So that's why He is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. So that's what I understood, Prabhuji. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So, the Supreme Lord is perfect. His plans are perfect. His will is perfect, and He is not an enemy. It's not that, okay, his everything is perfect, but He doesn't want our welfare. He wants our most welfare. We just discussed that. No one can be our better well-wisher. So now if His plans are perfect, and He is our most dear well-wisher, then why should we question His will? Because if we question His will, then we are putting, oh, you are my best well-wisher, but I am more intelligent than you. Or you are not my well-wisher. So either there is lack of faith, or there is lack of trust in His intelligence. Something or the other is missing. But the best thing is to not question His will, just gratefully accept His sweet will. In the Bible also it says, not my will, but thy will be done. His plans are a million times better than our plans. Even though according to our limited intelligence, it may seem, why Krishna, you did this to me? I didn't plan like this. I didn't want this to happen. Why you did this in my life? But He is the supreme intelligent, the supreme powerful, the supreme loving, the supreme master. So His will is million times, His will is perfect. We are fallible, we are chutya. We are prone to degradation, but He is infallible. There is never a mistake in His calculations. Oh, I wanted to do this, but this happened. Sometimes this happens to me. I wanted to do this, but unknowingly or due to some miscommunication or my actions or words or whatever, something else happens, knowingly, unknowingly. But in His scenario, there's never a mistake. He's Achyuta. He's supreme. And that's what the whole Bhagavad Gita is, actually. Arjuna wanted to do his will, and therefore he's in Vishad. First chapter, Arjuna Vishad Yoga. He gave up his Kandiva and trembling and crying. Later, he accepted Krishna and said, Karishyasi vachanam tvai. I will do your will, not my will. I will act as a puppet, as Mataji said very nicely. I will do the way you would like me to do. I will accept your will. That will lead to happiness. That will lead to paramgatim. Any other comments or questions? Okay, next verse. Devotees who didn't read yesterday would like to read. Someone?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to everyone. Text 40. Pathinchutam tishtati tishtarakshitam gruhe sthitam twadvihatam vinyashyati jivatya natho api pati dikshito vane gruhe bhisagupto swahato na jivati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srimad Bhagavatam Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sometimes one loses his money on a public street where everyone can see it, and yet his money is protected by destiny and not seen by others. Thus the man who lost it gets it back. On the other hand, if the Lord does not give protection, even money maintained by very securely at home is lost. If the Supreme Lord gives one protection, even though one has no protector and is in the jungle, one remains alive. Whereas a person well protected at home by relatives and others sometimes dies, no one being able to protect him. These are examples of supremacy of Lord. Our plan to protect or annihilate to do act, but whatever He thinks of doing actually happens. The example given in this regard are practical. Everyone has had such a practical experience, and there are also many other clear examples. For instance, Prahlad Maharaja said that A child is certainly dependent of his father and mother, but in spite of their presence, the child is harassed in many ways. Sometimes, in spite of a supply of a good medicine and an experienced physician, a patient does not survive. Therefore, since everything is dependent on the free will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our only duty is to surrender unto Him and seek His protection. So, Prabhupada is trying to explain here, when people are all the time question about the Supreme Lord, why He does that, why He do this, and trying to figure it out, why He always do this. But instead of that, you have to see the other side also. When He protects everyone all the time, and Prabhupada has given a small example here very nicely, and you can see in today's also, a lot of people are dying. Some people are not dying, some people are dying. That does not mean that He is not equal to everyone. And that's what the example as given here also. If He wants to take out us from this world, then I guess we don't need a coronavirus. Otherwise, according to His will, He does what He needs to does. But one has to only have a firm faith on Him. And Prabhupada is emphasizing one more time here, only duty to surrender unto Him and to seek His protection. Because everyone has a experience, sometimes or others, that we lose something, but we get back that, and we feel good. There are many times, because of our nature, when the victory goes in our side, we take a credit. But when we lose us, then we blame the Lord. That's the nature of the human being. But Prabhupada is clearly saying here, we have to surrender and seek the protection from Him, and we have to believe in that. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you. Very nice, Prabhu. So many examples are given in this verse and purport that ultimately whatever the Lord wants will happen by His will, not my will. So many examples are there. And nowadays I was reading one person who is 102 years old in Italy. His likelihood of surviving, he was already in bad health, he was walking and all, but likelihood of surviving and he got coronavirus was very, very low, but he still survived. And sometimes someone is very healthy and just in a moment's notice the person is dead, and his relatives don't expect and no bad history of health, but still that happens. Kamala Daljal Jivana Talamala. If Krishna wants to protect someone, no one can kill. If Krishna wants to kill, no one can protect. Same is for wealth. Sometimes one may keep the wealth very, very protected, and still there could be robbery can happen. And sometimes Prabhupada is giving the verse gives the example, and I've seen that someone's gold earring fell down in a public place, and that person came back after a few hours, and then she found it. Now, what is the likelihood of again finding in India a public street? This exactly I've seen, and I'm sure we all have experienced some or the other situations, or around our circle. The example of health we discussed. With good medicines, good doctor, wealth, and good nursing home and everything, person can die. And someone in a slums of a poor city can survive. Who is controlling? Sometimes working hard, the person putting a lot of effort, the person may fail in an exam or something. And sometimes the other person who is hardly spent any time studying may pass the exam. So who is controlling? That means we are not the controllers. Things won't happen as per my will. But all that does not mean we don't do the effort. Oh, if I have to live, then Krishna will let me live. I don't need to take any precautions. I don't need to take any medicine. Well, we are not at that level yet, like Prahlad Maharaj. So we should not artificially imitate. Oh, if I have to, Krishna wants me to give my job, I'll keep. It will happen. Otherwise, they will fire me. Why I should work, or why a student will say why I should study. If I have to pass, Krishna will. If Krishna wants me to pass, I will pass. If Krishna wants me to fail, I will fail. That's not the understanding. Understanding is we do the needful because we are not at that Paramhamsa level. We do the needful, whether it is with our work or studies or medicine, etc. We do the needful, but depend completely on Krishna, because ultimately His will happen, and we just after that we accept whatever He arranges by His sweet will. Then we will be happy. Otherwise, we'll continue to suffer. Why? My will didn't happen. Any other additions, comments?
Hare Krishna, this is Bhadra. Dandvat everybody. Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe. Here the word is used Dishta Rakshitam, means protected by the Lord. So he is giving, in the purport is giving Ramara is giving the positive and negative illustration by this of Lord's power. So if Lord is neglected by, if person is neglected by Lord, then he is destroyed. If the Lord glances upon the person, then he is protected. And when the person is overlooked by the Lord, he is destroyed by others. In this shloka is mentioned, and the word is important. Word is the Dishta Rakshitam, means the protected by the Lord. So it is the will of the Lord. Whatever Lord wants to do, and just devotee just depend on the Lord, surrender to the Lord, and live up to Lord, to the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam. Yeah, very nicely explained by Prabhuji and you. So I have actually experienced, similar like last year when we were playing a volleyball in a sand, I lost my ring. And, we tried so many things. We tried to get, the detectors and try, and, the professional person also came and searched for few hours, and all the 10-11 friends searched. But after 2 to 3 weeks, we were just playing and I found it. So, and it was the sand. So, and also the other point you made, we should not, as we see in Damodar Leela, 2 fingers. So one is our, Lord's mercy and our endeavor. So we should never leave our endeavor and, try to do our part, and then Krishna will, definitely have his own plan for us, better plan. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing your experience. Vigyan. Thank you. Would you like to read next verse?
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna devotees, and Pranam, all to Sri Srila Prabhupada. 41. Bhutani testir nijayoni karmabhir bhavanti kalena bhavanti sarvasha natatra atma pratyir api sthithas tasya guner anyatmo hi badhyate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Every conditioned soul receives a different type of body according to his work, and when the engagement is finished, the body is finished. Although the spirit soul is situated and subtle and gross material bodies in different forms of life, he is not bound by them, for he is completely understood to be completely different from the manifested body. Purport: here is very plainly explained that God is not responsible for the living entities accepting different types of body. One has to accept the body according to the laws of nature and one's own karma. Therefore, the Vedic injunction is that a person engaged in material activities should be given directions by which he can intelligently apply his activities to the service of the Lord to become free from the material bondage of repeated birth and death. Swakarmana tam abhyachara siddhim vinidati manva. The Lord is always ready to give directions. Indeed, His directions are elaborately given in Bhagavad Gita. If we take advantage of these directions, then in spite of our being conditioned by the laws of material nature, we shall become free to attain our original constitution. Mameva ye pratyante mayam etam tarantite. We should have firm faith that the Lord is supreme and that if we surrender unto Him, He will take charge of us and indicate how we can get out of this material life and return home, back to Godhead. Without such surrender, one is obliged to accept a certain type of body according to his karma, sometimes as an animal, sometimes as a demigod, and so on. Although the body is obtained and lost in due course of time, the spirit soul does not actually mix with the body, but is subjected by the particular modes of nature with which he is sinfully associated. Spiritual education changes one's consciousness so that one simply carries out the orders of Supreme Lord and becomes free from the influence of modes of material nature. Beautiful explanation, Prabhuji. So here, Srila Prabhupada is clearly explaining how, he's actually giving in a plain text, how a living entities, get different types of body, and the God is actually not responsible for it. It's because of his own karma. So as you told, somebody even 1 or 2 years old, still lives even though coronavirus or whatever, but a young boy, who is very healthy, and he might lose because of this is all because of his karma. Krishna doesn't need to interfere with all these things, but of course, a devotee who claps for Hare Krishna Maha Mantra can change his own karma. So we might have done so many sinful activities, but after taking this Krishna consciousness, we can change our karma. But again, we should not be in a position like an elephant, taking a bath and then coming again and throwing mud, sand on it. So Srila Prabhupada clearly explains that how Lord Krishna is actually giving the directions continuously, even Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and in fact, as a Chaitya Guru is always explaining, hinting you, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this. So if we can just introspect, what Krishna is saying for us, we can just follow his directions, and whatever plan he has, all we do is we do our endeavor, and he has a mercy and he has a better plan. Sometimes we think that his plan is not working, but it is working. We might have seen many examples of how king was, he cut his finger and he tried to, implicate on the minister, but at the end of the day, his life was saved because of his cut finger. So if we can have complete faith on Lord Krishna, then everything we can easily, Srila Prabhupada says that we can easily go back to home, our real home, back to our Supreme Father. And also Prabhupada is explaining how spiritual education changes one's consciousness by simply, carrying out the orders of the Supreme Lord. So all we need is faith in our Guru and Srila Prabhupada's 4 regulative principles and chanting, and we can, even the coronavirus or whatever, it doesn't matter for us. That's my understanding, Prabhuji. Please correct me. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very nice. You nicely summed up all the points. That any other comments or questions? Okay, let's read one more verse. Text 42. Someone like to read? It was not read.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Okay. 42. Idam sariram purusasya mohajam yatha prithag bhautika niyate gruham yatho edekam parthiv tejase sarjana janah kalena jato vikruto vinasyati. Translation. Just as a householder, although different from the identity of the house, think his house to be identical with him, so the conditioned soul, due to ignorance, accept the body to him to be himself, although the body is actually different from the soul. This body is obtained through the combination of protection of earth, water and fire, and when the earth, water and fire are transformed in the course of time, the body is vanquished. The soul has nothing to do with the creation and dissolution of the body. Purpose. We transmigrate from one body to another in body that are products of our illusion. But as spirit souls, we always exist separately from material conditioned life. The example given here is that the house or car is always different from its owner, but because of attachment, the conditioned soul thinks it to be identical with him. A car or house is actually made of material elements. As long as the material elements combine together probably, the car or house exists, and when they are disabled, the house or the car is disabled. The spirit soul, however, always remains as he is.
Thank you so much. So, same philosophy of body and soul is Lord Yamaraj describing in different ways. Here he is using the example of house, which refers to the body, and the person in the house, referring to the owner as the soul. So let's say we hear a news, house number, XYZ burned, and we get a call, oh, in your locality one house has burned. Suddenly there will be a lot of fear in our heart. Oh, I hope it's not my house. And then when we get to know, oh, it's not my house, it's XYZ's home, then we will just, okay, sad to know the house got burned, but in our heart we'll be a little relieved. Now, thousands of people are dying every day from corona or from different other diseases also, or natural death or heart attack and corona and infection and other diseases. But for me, it's just a number, correct? I mean, I do feel the pain, I do empathize, but what next? But if something happens to me, oh, then I'm really pained. How is my house being burned? How is my body being burned? That's very, very painful. Why? Because of bodily identification. That is the root cause. So, as the householder changes house, the soul changes bodies. Many, many examples are given. The driver and the car, the parrot and the cage. So many examples are given in this connection. So it's easy to speak these things, but not so easy to apply. But the more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, the more we try to apply, the more we keep in association of those devotees who are above these bodily level, or sincerely trying to be above the bodily level, then the more these gyan will become vigyan. This theoretical knowledge would go deeper and lead to transformation. And when the challenges come, because one day our house will also be burned, the house of this body, one day challenges will come in my life also. It's not that diseases will happen to my neighbors and relatives only. They will come to me also. Challenges will come in my life also. No one will be spared. We discuss as certain as death. So the more we will prepare ourselves by Bhagavatam, by Vaishnava Sangha, by chanting, reading, hearing, etc., the more we'll uplift ourselves from body to spirit. And the easier it will be for us. For example, if a person has to give up a small house and has to go to a fresh new building and fresh new house with, would the person be happy or sad? The person will be happy. Oh, I have to give up my old broken building and going into a new house. That's what is happening at the time of death. The body, which is old and less capable, the soul takes a fresh body. But because of lack of understanding, the suffering is there. So easier said than done. Again, speaking these big things are easy, but the practical thing is, the more we read here, it is going into our consciousness, and it is helping us to at least take a baby step forward in that direction, from matter to spirit, from body to soul consciousness. Any other comments anyone has? Any additions, questions anyone would like to add? Nandini Mataji, you want to share something?
I'm good, Prabhu. Thank you so much for asking.
Prabir Prabhu, want to share something?
Prabhu, I think what he said, Prabhuji said before, the most important thing is you have to apply that in our daily life. And you mentioned that only by reading Bhagavatam and associating with the devotees, it is going to remind me, I can say for myself, that is the, without association or reading, it's not going to, we just listen and then it's never going to be applied. And until unless we apply, as you mentioned, like when it affects me, I can say, just recently, I'm giving the example because my sister's husband just when he went for jogging and he passed away. He was a healthy person, never smoked, never did any drinking alcohol and all these things. But when it happens to us, then we can realize that how much reading of Bhagavatam is helpful. Then we take shelter of the devotees, we listen to the devotees, we chant, and that's the way we come out of those situations and again apply ourselves in devotional service. Vishnu Purvakti.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Any other comments, questions before we stop for today? Okay, so with that we will pause for today and continue tomorrow. Today is a very, very holy day. There are 4 festivals: Shri Balaram Rasa Yatra, Shri Krishna Vasanta Rasa, Shri Vamsi Vadan Thakur Appearance Day, and Shri Shamanand Prabhu's Appearance Day. So, very holy day, and reading Bhagavatam in the association of Vaishnavas is certainly blessed for all of us. So, thank you so much, Kantraj. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakti Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhureva cha Putitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Nandakoti Vaishnavendra ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.